When? Sometimes in life, the rules you were taught are not designed to take you where you were created to go. And that is a truth most people are afraid to face. You were raised to believe that if you follow the system, stay in line. When? Wait your turn and do everything right. Life will reward you. But what if I told you that some of the greatest breakthroughs in history came from people who understood one thing, that there are moments when you must step outside the expected. When? Think differently and strategically bend the rules, not out of dishonesty, but out of alignment with a higher purpose. Because let me be clear, cheating with life is not about deception. When? It is about refusing to be limited by systems that were never designed for your full potential. It is about recognizing that time is too valuable to be wasted on unnecessary delays, outdated paths, when distractions disguised as responsibilities. Most people are not failing because they lack ability. They are failing because they are playing a game by rules that do not serve their destiny. When? You have to understand this time is the raw material of your life. When? And every second you spend following the wrong path is a second you cannot recover. So sometimes you must cheat by thinking ahead. When? While others are waiting for permission, you are already preparing for opportunity. While others are stuck in routines that drain them, you are redesigning your day to serve your purpose. That is not wrong, that is wisdom. When? There are moments when life will test you with unnecessary obstacles, delays that do not build you, and expectations that do not reflect who you are becoming. And if you are not careful, when? You will spend years trying to satisfy systems that were never meant to define you. When? But the person who understands purpose knows when to move differently. They know when to stop following the crowd and start following conviction. You must learn to cheat distractions. When? That means you don't give your energy to everything that demands your attention. You don't attend every conversation. You don't respond to every noise. You don't chase every opportunity. You become selective because every yes you give to something meaningless is a no to something that matters. You must learn to cheat time by compressing your focus. The average person stretches effort across the entire day. When? But the disciplined individual concentrates power into intentional hours. When? They understand that one focused hour can produce more results than 10 distracted ones. So they create environments where focus becomes natural and distractions become irrelevant. You must learn to cheat fear. Fear will tell you to wait, to delay, to prepare endlessly. But purpose demands action. So instead of waiting until you feel ready, when you move while you are uncertain. That is how you gain speed in life. When? Because clarity does not come before action, clarity comes from action. There are also moments when you must cheat expectations. When? People will try to define you based on who you used to be. They will expect you to stay the same, to think the same, when to operate within the limits they are comfortable with. But growth requires that you break those expectations. You cannot become who you are meant to be while trying to remain who people are used to. You must also learn to cheat comfort. Comfort is one of the most dangerous traps in life because it feels safe, but it keeps you stagnant. Growth does not live in comfort. When expansion does not happen in convenience. So you intentionally put yourself in environments that challenge you, stretch you, when, and force you to evolve. And here is the most important part: you must cheat excuses. Because excuses are the language of wasted time. When they sound reasonable, they feel justified, but they produce nothing. The moment you remove excuses, you take back control of your life. When you stop negotiating with your potential and you start executing with intention. Life does not reward those who simply follow. It rewards those who understand. And understanding gives you the power to move differently. It gives you the ability to see what others miss, to act when others hesitate, and to progress when others remain stuck. So when I say sometimes you have to cheat with life, I am not telling you to break integrity. I am telling you to break limitation. I am telling you to refuse to be bound by patterns that do not serve your purpose. I am telling you to become intentional with your time. Strategic with your actions and disciplined with your focus. Because at the end of the day, when your life is not measured by how well you follow the rules, it is measured by how fully you fulfilled your purpose. And purpose does not wait for permission. It demands alignment. It requires courage. And it rewards those who are willing to think beyond the ordinary and act beyond the expected. So make a decision today. Stop playing life the slow way. Stop waiting for everything to be perfect. Stop giving your time to things that do not move you forward. Learn the principles, understand the system, but when necessary, move beyond it. Because your destiny is not found in doing what everyone else is doing. It is found in becoming who you were created to be, without delay, without distraction, and without limitation. Time is often blamed for failure, delay, and frustration, but time itself has never opposed anyone. It moves with perfect consistency. Giving every person the same 24 hours, the same 60 minutes in every hour, the same 60 seconds in every minute. It does not slow down for the unprepared, and it does not speed up for the ambitious. Time is neutral. It is constant. It is faithful. The real issue is not time. It is how aligned you are with what you were created to do within that time. When your life is not aligned with purpose, time begins to feel like pressure. You feel rushed, overwhelmed, and behind. Even when you are busy, you can fill your entire day with activity and still feel empty at the end of it. That is because activity without purpose creates exhaustion without fulfillment. You are moving, but you are not progressing. You are investing energy, but you are not receiving meaningful returns. And over time, this misalignment creates frustration. Because deep within you, there is an awareness that you are capable of more, yet you are not experiencing it. Purpose is what gives time direction. Without purpose, time becomes something you try to survive. With purpose, time becomes something you intentionally design. The difference is not in how much time you have, but in how clearly you understand what your time is meant to serve. When purpose is unclear, you become reactive. You respond to whatever comes your way. You allow distractions to dictate your schedule. You say yes to things that do not align with your future, simply because you have not defined what truly matters. But when purpose becomes clear, something powerful happens. Your relationship with time changes completely. You no longer feel controlled by it, you begin to control how it is used. You start to recognize that every hour is an opportunity to move closer to your assignment. You become selective with your attention. When you protect your focus, you begin to eliminate anything that does not contribute to your growth or your calling. When misalignment also creates confusion in decision making. When you do not know your purpose, every option seems equally important. When you struggle to prioritize because you have no clear standard for what deserves your time. This leads to overcommitment, distraction, and ultimately burnout. But purpose simplifies everything. It becomes a filter through which every decision is made. If something does not align with your purpose, it loses its urgency. If it does align, it gains your full attention. Time does not betray you. It reveals you. It exposes whether you are living intentionally or accidentally. It shows whether you are investing in your future or escaping your responsibility. Every day is a reflection of your alignment. If your days are filled with distractions, it is not because time failed you. It is because purpose has not yet taken its rightful place in your life. The truth is, you do not need more time, you need more clarity. You need to understand why you are here, what you are called to do, and what truly matters in the long term. Because once that becomes clear, you will begin to use time differently. You will stop wasting it on things that do not serve you. You will stop delaying what needs to be done. You will stop waiting for motivation and start acting with intention. Alignment with purpose transforms ordinary hours into meaningful progress. It gives your actions weight. It gives your days direction. It turns time from something you fear losing into something you intentionally invest. And when that alignment is established, you will realize that time was never your enemy. It was always your greatest resource, waiting for you to understand how to use it properly. You don't need more hours, you need more clarity. Because the truth is, most people are not running out of time, they are running without direction. They wake up early, they stay busy all day. They move from one task to another, yet at the end of it all, they feel like nothing truly meaningful was accomplished. Not because they lacked time, but because they lacked a clear understanding of what their time was supposed to be used for. Clarity is what gives time purpose. Without it, every demand feels important, every opportunity looks urgent, and every distraction finds a way into your day. You start reacting instead of leading. You say yes to things that drain you and delay the things that could actually move your life forward. And slowly, without realizing it, your time becomes scattered across activities that have no real connection to your future. When you lack clarity, when you confuse movement with progress, you believe that being busy is the same as being productive. But productivity is not about how much you do, it is about how much of what you do actually matters. You can spend 10 hours working on things that don't align with your purpose and still remain stuck in the same place. But 1 hour, fully aligned with clarity, can shift your direction completely. Clarity simplifies your life in ways that nothing else can. It removes unnecessary decisions. It filters out distractions. It gives you the ability to look at your day and immediately recognize what deserves your energy and what does not. Instead of asking, what should I do next? You begin to ask, what moves me closer to who I am becoming? That one shift changes everything. Without clarity, you will always feel behind. You will always feel like there is more to do than you have time for. But once clarity is established, something powerful happens. You stop chasing everything and you start focusing on the right things. When your energy becomes concentrated, your actions become intentional, and your time begins to produce results that actually matter. Clarity also gives you confidence in your decisions. It removes hesitation. When you know your direction, when you don't second guess every step, you don't waste time overthinking, you move with purpose, you act with certainty. When? And that speed alone gives you an advantage that most people never experience. The problem is when. Many people try to solve a clarity problem with a time solution. They believe that if they just had more hours, everything would fall into place. But more time without clarity only creates more confusion. It gives you more space to procrastinate, when more room to get distracted, and more opportunities to avoid what truly matters. Clarity, on the other hand, compresses your focus. When it forces you to prioritize, it pushes you to eliminate what is unnecessary. And in doing so, when it makes the time you already have far more powerful than extra hours ever could. When you must understand that your life is not built on time alone. It is built on how clearly you use that time. When every day is a reflection of your level of clarity. If your days feel scattered, it is because your direction is unclear. When if your progress feels slow, it is because your focus is divided. But when clarity becomes your foundation, everything begins to align. So stop asking for more time and start demanding more clarity from yourself. Get clear about what matters. Get clear about where you are going. Get clear about what must be done today to move closer to that destination. Because once clarity is established, time stops being something you chase and starts becoming something you command. Discipline is the system that protects your destiny. It is not just a habit or a routine. It is a structure, a framework, a personal law you create to ensure that what you were meant to become is not lost to distraction, emotion, or inconsistency. When destiny is not fragile because of lack of ability, it is fragile because of lack of protection. And without discipline, even the greatest potential can be wasted. You must understand that your destiny is built over time, not in a single moment. When? It is shaped through daily decisions, repeated actions, and consistent commitment. And because of that, when it is constantly under pressure from things that seek to pull you away from it, comfort, procrastination, fear, distractions, when? And even people who do not understand your direction. Discipline becomes the system that shields you from all of these forces. When? It keeps you aligned when you feel uncertain. It keeps you moving when you feel tired. It keeps you focused when everything around you is competing for your attention. Without discipline, you live based on how you feel, and feelings are unstable. Some days you will feel motivated, other days you will not. Some days you will feel confident, when other days you will doubt yourself. If your life is controlled by how you feel, then your progress will always be inconsistent. When? But discipline removes that instability. It creates a standard that you follow regardless of emotion. When? It tells you that what must be done will be done, whether you feel like it or not. Discipline also protects your time. When? Time is one of the most valuable resources you have, but without discipline, it is easily wasted. When? You spend hours on things that do not matter. You delay important actions, and you allow distractions to fill your day. But when discipline is in place, your time becomes structured. You begin to assign your hours with intention. When you decide in advance what deserves your attention, and you refuse to give time to what does not contribute to your purpose. There is also a deeper level to discipline. It protects your focus. In a world full of noise, information, and constant interruption, when the ability to focus is rare, and without focus, you cannot make meaningful progress. Discipline trains your mind to stay on task. It helps you resist the urge to constantly switch, scroll, and react. It teaches you to stay present with what matters until it is complete. You must also recognize that discipline protects you from yourself, because the greatest threat to your destiny is not external, but it is internal. It is your tendency to delay, to settle, to choose comfort over growth. Discipline confronts that version of you. It challenges you to rise above your lower habits and align with your higher purpose. When it forces you to act in a way that supports your future, even when your present self resists. Many people wait for the perfect moment, the right mood, or the ideal conditions before they take action. But discipline does not wait. When it creates progress in imperfect conditions, it builds consistency in uncertain environments. It ensures that your destiny is not dependent on chance, but on commitment. And over time, discipline compounds. Small actions, when repeated daily, begin to create powerful results. What once felt difficult becomes natural. What once required effort becomes automatic. When and gradually you begin to see the evidence of a life that is aligned, intentional, and protected. Your destiny is too important to leave unguarded. It requires structure. It requires consistency. When it requires a system that ensures you stay on the path, no matter what comes against you. That system is discipline. When and the moment you embrace it fully, you stop drifting through life and start building it with purpose, precision, and power. You must outgrow the version of yourself that wastes time. When? Because the greatest barrier between where you are and where you are meant to be is not time itself. It is the habits, thoughts, and behaviors that misuse it. Growth is not only about adding new skills or gaining new knowledge. It is about releasing the patterns that keep you stuck in cycles of delay, distraction, and low value activity. When there is a version of you that is comfortable with postponing what matters, a version that chooses what feels easy over what is necessary, a version that convinces you that there is always tomorrow, that you still have time, that you can start later. And that version, if left unchanged, will quietly steal years from your life without you even realizing it. Because wasted time rarely feels dangerous in the moment. It feels harmless, temporary, even deserved. But over time, it becomes the difference between potential and reality. Outgrowing that version of yourself requires awareness first. You must be honest enough to recognize where your time is going. Not where you think it is going, but where it is actually being spent. Every distraction you entertain, every unnecessary delay you accept, every moment you choose comfort over purpose, these are not small things. They are signals. They reveal the version of yourself that is still operating below your potential. But awareness alone is not enough. You must also make a decision, a clear intentional decision that the life you want is no longer compatible with the habits you currently have. Because you cannot carry the same behaviors into a different future and expect different results. The version of you that wastes time cannot produce a life of discipline, clarity, and purpose. When that transformation requires a shift in identity, you begin to change when you stop negotiating with your time. When you stop asking yourself whether you feel like doing what needs to be done, when, and instead commit to doing it because it aligns with who you are becoming. This is where growth becomes real. It is no longer about motivation, it is about alignment. You act not because it is easy, but because it is necessary. When outgrowing your old self also means becoming uncomfortable, because the habits that waste time are often the ones that feel familiar. When they are routines you have repeated for years. They give you temporary relief, temporary entertainment, temporary escape. But growth demands that you replace those patterns with ones that require effort, focus, and consistency. And at first, that will not feel natural. It will feel forced. It will feel difficult. But that discomfort is not a sign that you are doing something wrong. It is a sign that you are evolving. When you must also raise your standards. The version of you that wastes time operates with low expectations. It accepts average results. It tolerates inconsistency. But the version of you that understands purpose does not accept that. It holds itself accountable. When it recognizes that every hour matters, that every decision contributes to the life you are building. When? And that awareness creates a different level of responsibility. As you grow, you will begin to value your time differently. You will no longer give it away easily. You will no longer spend it on things that do not contribute to your direction. You will become more selective, more intentional, more disciplined. And this shift will not only change how you use your time, it will change how you see yourself. Because at the end of the day, outgrowing the version of yourself that wastes time is not about becoming someone completely new. When? It is about becoming who you were always meant to be, without the interference of habits that hold you back. It is about aligning your actions with your purpose, your decisions with your future, and your time with what truly matters. When? And when that happens, you will realize that time was never the problem. The problem was the version of you that did not yet understand its value. But once you outgrow that version, everything begins to change. Your focus sharpens. Your actions become intentional. And your life starts moving in the direction it was always meant to go. When? Purpose organizes time into meaningful action. Without it, time is scattered across tasks that feel urgent but lead nowhere. You can wake up early, stay busy all day, and still end the day with a sense of emptiness. When? Because movement without direction is not progress. Purpose is what gives your time structure. When? It is the force that turns random activity into intentional action and transforms ordinary hours into something that actually builds your future. When? When purpose is absent, your time becomes reactive. You respond to messages, demands, interruptions, when and expectations without questioning whether they align with where you are going. Your schedule fills up quickly, but it lacks meaning. When? You become busy maintaining things instead of building something. And over time, this creates a cycle where you are constantly doing, but rarely advancing. Purpose changes that completely. It acts as a filter. When? It helps you decide what deserves your attention and what does not. Instead of asking what needs to be done next, you begin to ask what matters most. That one shift brings clarity. It removes unnecessary tasks. It eliminates distractions. When? And it allows you to focus your energy on actions that actually move your life forward. When, you must understand that time by itself has no direction. It simply passes. It is your purpose that assigns it direction. It is your purpose that decides where your effort goes, what your priorities are, and how your days are structured. Without purpose, when your time will always be controlled by external forces. With purpose, your time becomes internally guided. When? Purpose also brings order to your decisions. It simplifies complexity. When you know your purpose, you do not struggle with every choice. When? You do not feel pulled in multiple directions. You begin to recognize what aligns and what does not. And that clarity reduces stress, when increases focus and creates consistency in your actions. Meaningful action is not about doing more, it is about doing what matters. When? And purpose ensures that what you do carries weight. It connects your daily efforts to a larger vision. It gives your actions significance. It allows you to see how small steps contribute to long-term results. When? There is also a discipline that comes with purpose. Because once you know what your time is meant to serve, when? You can no longer justify wasting it. You become more aware of how you spend your hours. You become more intentional with your focus. And you begin to protect your time from anything that does not contribute to your direction. Many people are not lacking time. When? They are lacking organization of that time. And organization does not come from schedules alone. It comes from purpose. When? Because a schedule without purpose is just a list of activities. But a schedule built around purpose becomes a strategy. When? It becomes a system that guides your actions toward meaningful outcomes. As you grow in purpose, your time begins to feel different. When it no longer feels rushed or overwhelming, it feels structured. It feels intentional. It feels aligned. You start to experience progress with not just activity. You begin to see results, not just effort. And that changes your relationship with time completely. When? Purpose is what gives your time value. It is what turns hours into progress, effort into results, and actions into impact. Without it, when time slips away unnoticed. With it, every moment becomes an opportunity to move closer to the life you were meant to live. What you ignore today will control your tomorrow. Because nothing in life simply disappears when you choose not to face it. It only grows, it compounds, and it returns with greater force. Ignoring something does not eliminate it, it delays it. When, and in that delay, it gathers strength, influence, and consequence. Every small decision to overlook what matters may feel harmless in the moment. Skipping a responsibility, when avoiding a difficult conversation, postponing a necessary action, it seems insignificant. You tell yourself it can wait. When? You convince yourself it is not urgent. But what you fail to see is that time does not neutralize what you ignore. It multiplies it. Problems do not stay the same size. They expand in silence. The things you refuse to address today begin to shape your circumstances tomorrow. That small financial oversight becomes a larger burden. That neglected health habit becomes a deeper issue. When? That delayed discipline becomes a pattern of inconsistency. And before you realize it, what was once manageable becomes overwhelming. When ignoring something is a form of decision, it is choosing not to act, not to confront, not to take responsibility. And every decision has an outcome. So even when you feel like